Actually, I'm not fan of Zoom, but due to that second day, I recorded everything and my Snagit crashed. And to be frank, on my Mac, that's only Snagit has been crashed till now. Like each couple of like each day, once Snagit is crashing on my Mac. I don't know why. So the recording has been started, and here we go. So let's talk about malwares. And just like Citizen 4, I'm going to suggest a movie. The name of that movie or documentary is Zero Days. Okay, this is weird. So what is this malwares? See, whenever we use internet or do anything, it doesn't matter whether we are playing with a cell phone or we are playing with our laptop. If our system or cell phone is encountering any sort of error, we always blame a virus. We say like, okay, system is slow, it's virus. System is hanging, it's virus. System is not responding so quick, it's virus, and so on. Virus is like Sarma ji ka beta of Indian society. If you are like, if someone is better than you, then that is Sarma ji ka beta. If someone is awkward than you, then that is Sarma ji ka beta. If you can play blame game with someone, that is Sarma ji ka beta. So just like that, this malwares is the most powerful word. But what people do usually, they don't understand what exactly is malware. They understand only one thing, which is virus. So today we will try to sort out this problem. Actually, virus is a type of malware. So first, let's try to define what is this. I hope you join ना कर रहा हो, waiting में तो कोई नहीं है. So let's try to understand what exactly is this malwares. So the full form of malware is malicious software. So anything which can harm your computer in any ways are termed as malwares. So it doesn't matter whether it's actually I don't know why they use software, but nowadays even there are hardware too. So you can say MLS malware is full form is malicious software, but anything which contains software or hardware, anything which can harm your computer in any ways are termed as malwares. And there are subdivisions of malware. The very first one is virus. Then there is something called worms. There is rootkit. There is Trojan, there is adware, there is spyware, our favorite ransomware, there is rat, and there are plethoras of them. Even this virus is having a lot of subdomains, subdivisions as well. So one by one, we are going to talk about these things, and we will, at the end of the day, we are going to talk about what are the countermeasures to safeguard ourselves and how to detect as well. So what exactly is a virus? So actually, initially there was subdivision, like the definition of virus was different, definition of worm was different, definition of rootkit was different. But nowadays, in the technical advancement, everything work like a virus can work like worm as well. A virus can work like a Trojan as well. So, but still, we will try to stick to the basics. What are those? So, virus A was one of the most strongest player of malicious software. It was one of the best, and it was one of the most powerful virus because there was a superpower in virus, and the superpower was that it can merge itself behind any system specific file. For example, if I created a file called mb.exe, which is virus, and in your system there is cmd.exe, or there is notepad.exe. So what this virus was doing actually, it was having a superpower. This virus was able to merge itself behind any of this file. For instance, if mb.exe is running in your system, you can check your task manager, and you can see like there is mb.exe. So you can stop it. So what I will do, being a cybersecurity guy, I will merge this mb.exe behind cmd.exe. So once you will take your task manager, you will find out like cmd is running, or notepad is being running in the background, uh, explorer is running in the background. You won't think like there is a virus running behind that. So that was the beauty of this virus as well. And initially, the extension of virus was .exe. Virus was executable file, but I'm not going to talk about was because we are sticking to basic. I'm going to talk about is. So it's a executable file, and until unless you are not executing that file, it's just a potato. It's dormant. So that is pretty much sums of virus. Again, this virus is having a lot of subdivisions. There is polymorphic virus, there is metamorphic virus, there is stealth virus, like virus with different functionality. Even there are virus which can trigger on a specific date. There are virus which can die on one specific date. There are virus who change their digital signature. Uh, so virus is having a lot of subdivision, and those subdivisions are somewhat similar to these subtopics of malwares. Now there are smaller tools as well to play to create your own virus. Again, that is for educational purpose itself. There is a tool called, I think, Terabit Virus Maker. Small virus. They are batch file actually. Like if you know batch programming, so you know you can play it out. There are virus like when they will be in your system, your CD drive will pop all the time, or your computer will give a beep sound, your mouse will freeze. So they are a little bit funny virus. And again, there is a tool called JPS Virus Maker. Again, if you are planning to download these things, like if you are planning to download any of this software, so make sure you are downloading it in your sandboxed environment. It's better to download stuff in your VMware, right? So in VMware you can install your Windows, any Windows operating system. As you know, Windows is free. Like you can download from their official site for 180 days. That is free for 180 days. So download this Windows, install it inside VMware, and then you can download these virus makers, because there is 99.9% chance that when you are downloading these virus makers, you are even downloading any malware with them. Next one is worm. So see worms. See, this worm was having, virus was having only one limitation. The limitation was that until unless you are not double clicking the virus, it is dormant, like it's potato. This worm is like cousin brother of virus. It's worm is like Sarmaji ka bit of virus. So I beg my pardon if any of one of you guys are having a title Sarma. Even my title is Sarma, but again it's an Indian saying. So see, this worm is having like worm virus was having a limitation. It need triggering to get activated. But these worms are genius sort of guy. They don't need any sort of triggering. They know how to propagate from one place to another without any external interference, and their mostly target is your C drive. For instance, we have seen many times the most common worm is you can say shortcut virus. So you are using a pen drive, your pen drive is having a shortcut virus, and then you insert that pen drive in your laptop. Now your laptop is having shortcut virus, and after a couple of days, you can see that shortcut virus is being scattered all across the laptop. So this is the best example of worm. And what worm do actually, they create hidden files, like they create hidden virus. Out of 10, you are able to see 2 or 3 worms, but you won't be able to see 7 or 8, something like that. And their target is mostly their target is C drive. So as you can see, if you are trying to transfer movie in a pen drive, and if the movie is of 1 GB, it will take hardly 2 or 3 minutes or maximum 5 minutes to get transferred. But when you will try to send one operating system of 1 GB, it will take more than 20 minutes. Why? Because for movie, there is one video means one time processing. But in case of OS, there are thousands of files, means 1,000 time processing. So these worm do the same stuff. Whenever your laptop is being like whenever you are starting your laptop, everything is being initialized from C drive. So these worm people do what? They create plethoras of folder inside the C drive, so that your laptop processing, like your laptop will be busy doing a lot of processing work, and on the other hand, your laptop will be acting, slow as well. So even if you are thinking, if you are having a lot of spare memory, and still your laptop is working slow, so there might be a chance that your laptop is being encountered with worms. If you want to create your own worm, again tool based, so there is a tool called Internet Worm Maker thing. Again, as I have told you, they know how to propagate from one place to another. So it means even if you are creating them in your virtual environment, make sure your network is not a NAT or bridge, because NAT or bridge will give them a bridge connection to your actual network. So after that, the next one is rootkit. It's one of the most dangerous sort of malware. Why it is dangerous? Because see, virus, worm, or any other malwares, they rely on your operating system. Once you refresh your operating system or reinstall your operating system, they're gone. But this rootkit is something different. Its target is hardware. Its target is your motherboard. So it doesn't matter whether you are installing Windows 7, 10, or Linux. It is there on your motherboard. And the thing is this: why your antivirus is unable to scan this rootkit? Because when you switch on your laptop from BIOS, first your Windows files are being installed, and whatever is there before Windows, your antivirus will think like it's a part of Windows or it's the part of OS. First your OS is being installed. So here is a motherboard with rootkit over there, and then there is your operating system, and then your firewall is being initialized. And after that, whatever is being initialized, your firewall is going to scan that. So you can see it's pretty much is having the veto power, and no one is unable to detect it until or unless you are using some specific tool which can scan at BIOS level. So nowadays there are a lot of total security option available on internet. You can download them, and they usually scan your laptop at BIOS level with the help of command prompt as well. Or else there's a tool called RK Hunter. The full form is Rootkit Hunter. You can use this; it's free of cost. You can download it in your Linux or Windows, and you can check whether your system is having rootkit or not. But nowadays, this rootkit is a trendy thing actually. As you can see, last year only, a lot of Chinese manufacturer are selling their product with rootkit in cell phone. There was the very popular incident was Lenovo laptop incident, wherein by default in Lenovo laptop there were rootkit pre-installed, and they were using that rootkit just to track out what consumer is seeing to show them advertisement, right? So it's a new virus, you can say, nowadays, and it's very much like you can't detect them. If rootkit is there in your system, you can't detect them. How will you detect? Because they are silently sitting over there. They are just monitoring you. They are doing nothing. They are like ghost. The next one is Trojan. So what is this Trojan actually? There is a story of Trojan horse, right? There was a guy who I think all of you guys have heard the story of Troy. There is a movie, Hollywood movie too. So let me give the gist of that movie. There was a guy who fall in love with a queen, and he said like he said the queen like, I'm going to kill your king, and I'm going to take you away. The king was like, okay, let's have a war. If you won, then you will be having everything, my kingdom, everything. So that guy did what he bring, like he was actually, he was not king, actually he was prince. He bring the army with him, and he was trying to invade the kingdom of the queen, but he was unable to do so. So he was having a guy, like a very genius guy with him, like Tenali Rahman. So he proposed him something. He told him like, don't worry, we will find a way around. He said like, gift something to the king. He wrote a letter. In the letter, it was written like, we quit. We can't, uh, break your wall. We can't invade your fort because your fort is very much rigid. So what we are going to do, we are going to give you a token of appreciation from our side. This is a wooden horse of 100 feet or 200 feet, whatever is that. I beg my pardon that I invaded your kingdom. And he left. That 100 or 200 feet horse was having more than 500 soldiers inside them. So at night during the party, like the war was won without the fight. So at night, the king person opened the door and dragged that horse inside the kingdom. And once everyone was sleeping, they will fall asleep. The soldier come out of the wooden horse and they win the battle. So that horse is called Trojan horse, and from there this concept of Trojan is being dragged in real world, in malware's world. So Trojan is a software which seems to be important. For instance, you are downloading a software like a calculator. Best example. You are downloading a calculator, and with that calculator, 4 or 5 extra softwares are installed in your system without taking your permission. So that's the best example of Trojan. So this seems to be important, but they are carrying some malwares behind them, and then they are pretty much dangerous. That is the reason why it's always people always suggest to download stuff from the official website rather than going for cracked version or some random websites or blogs. Here is adware. The full form is advertisement software. You might have encountered this sort of problem in your life as well. Like you are googling something and you are getting random pop-ups all the time, and those pop-ups are very much irritating, right? So the intention of this adware is to just give pop-ups, to just show advertisement to an infected person. So what you can do, there is a tool called ADW Cleaner. With the help of that tool, you can remove this adware stuff. Spyware, as per the name suggests, the best example is MSPy, which I recommend to people. So see what a spyware can do. Okay, actually they are genius. They use this sort of name like keep your kids safe and there is parental control. But you can see what they can do. They can check call log, text message, GPS tracking, web history, other data, media files, social media, online messages, which includes WhatsApp, Viber, WeChat, everything, everything, everything. So they are like spyware, like they are spying you. Whatever the, for instance, if I'm installed this software in my laptop or in my cell phone, all the data will is being hosted on MSPy. Like you have to log in on MSPy account, then you can check my cell phone or my target, something like this. So this is spyware is nowadays in use. You can see in nowadays after each like each month you are getting news like this company was tracking the politician. Even there was a news like there was a Bangalore based firm, security firm, and they were pretty much active in monitoring Russian politician. I don't know, like there might be their client would be from USA or somewhere else. So it's pretty much common nowadays. All the companies, the securities companies, are making their own spy software. They are playing a neat trick nowadays. For instance, I have seen a lot of webinars on internet and from various personalities in India. They will say like, give me your cell phone and I will hack your cell phone within 30 seconds. You are curious, you give them cell phone and tada, they download stuff and you are hacked. So until or unless something is not being downloaded, there are only 2 or 3 reasons to hack your cell phone. First, like 2 or 3 ways to hack your cell phone. First one, this softwares. Second one, you are using outdated cell phone with outdated Android version. For instance, right now we are running on Android 10. So if you are using 8 or 9, so you know what you are inviting upon you. So outdated operating system, and third one is outdated security patch number. So I see in India, most of people go for lower segment cell phone. They think like, okay, this is Redmi, there is Xiaomi, they are giving a great cell phone in 10,000 rupees. But the thing is, when you are buying a 10,000 rupees cell phone, initially they are giving you great, value for money. But are they giving you regular updates? You are getting regular updates or not? Because in cell phone there is Android update as well as security patch update. So which sort of updates you are getting? That is the reason why people are, even though they are shitloads expensive, these Apple products are shitloads expensive, still they are opting for Apple product because they know that for the next 5 years, uh, Apple will be getting updates for sure. So this is how the things are. Spyware is very much trending nowadays. Even I met a guy once, and he was saying like, I will hack your cell phone. Just give me for 30 seconds. I was like, if you're hacker, hack directly. Why you want my cell phone? So if I'm giving you my cell phone, it means it's already hacked. So where is hacking? So these are some of the things spyware. So how to detect whether a file is having spyware or not? You can't detect it. But there is an other way around. From with the help of that website, you can get to know whether there is any malware installed or not. And then there is ransomware. Why these ransomware are very much popular? See, when we use online transfer, money transfer, we use 128 or 256 bits of encryption. But this ransomware guy, they do what? They use 1028 bits of encryption. And they are freshly, like they are newly coded. So if there is ransomware in your website, first work of ransomware is to be in your, sorry, not in your website. First work of ransomware to be in your OS or in your server. After being downloaded in your network, ransomware will encrypt everything, whatever is there in server or on laptop. It will encrypt everything. And after encrypting, they will leave a text file, a small text file on the desktop stating like, okay, you have to give us this much Bitcoin. Like you have to give $5,000 of like $5,000 value of Bitcoin to this particular address. So it's very tough to remove this sort of ransomware if they are pretty much new. Then there is RAT. The full form is remote uh, access toolkit. They are like spyware, but they usually work inside a network. So if you want to test a rat in your network, there is NJ-RAT. One of the most popular one is Dark Comet. It's decade old and still it's pretty much reliable. Now, how to detect whether your file is, whether any software is having, or whether any PPT, PDF, or whatever we are downloading from internet is having malware installed in that or not. So for that, what you have to do, there is a website called, um, I think the name of that website is virustotal.com. So here is website virustotal.com. So if you have downloaded something from internet, so I'm going to choose a file, and it's on desktop. I'm going to upload this screenshot. I just want to check whether this screenshot, for instance, this image is having virus or not. So by default, what we do usually in our laptop, there is an antivirus or there is a firewall. On virustotal.com, there is more than 50 antivirus, and those antivirus will scan your uh, image or whatever the thing you are going file you are going to upload. So as you can see, this is the digital signature of the file. What is digital signature? It's just the impact being made, like it's like the actual signature. Like if I'm in bank, I have to use my checkbook, I have to sign, and that sign is being compared to the database, and if everything goes right, I will be getting my cash. Just like that, on internet, each file is having a signature, and that signature, if I have downloaded a software or I have downloaded a game, the name of a game is anything. For instance, the name of the game is what can be uh, ABC, ABC. So if that ABC game, uh, if that ABC game is recording or getting more information than desired, or that particular game is uploading data somewhere back. So that file somewhere back is uploading a file without the consent of user on internet. So might be someone will report it. And if there are, see, in India there is a trend. If Indians are not in good mood, so they will do two things. First, YouTube dislike, or they will, spam. Like they will spam you on Play Store so that you will be gone. The best culprit is TikTok, right? So with spamming, what will happen? This antivirus company will think like, okay, this number of people are spamming. It means there is something is wrong over there, and they will record this digital signature and put it on RAID file as their database. So the same thing is happening over here. My file is being uploaded, and all these companies are scanning this digital signature in their database. They are trying to analyze whether this particular digital signature is having a red flag or not. And you can see out of 55, everyone is saying like it's genuine. So perhaps you can upload here 255 MB or 500 MB, I'm not sure. Initially it was just 64 MB, but now I think they have increased their upload value to 256 MB. So now the thing is how to detect whether your file, whether your system is having virus or not. It's pretty simple. Uh, if you're using a laptop from a long time, you will automatically get to know, or else you can see your laptop is behaving oddly. Suddenly, some screen pop-ups are over there. There is a command prompt being popped and gone. It's the most dangerous thing. If you're using Windows and suddenly you're doing a work, suddenly there is a command prompt pop up and gone in a flash. It means something is fishy. Rather than this, it's always better to check your task manager, especially in Windows. Check what is running in the background. Always check your startup. In your task manager, there is an option of startup, which software is having permission to start at its own after the starting of the laptop. So try to keep minimum things over there. Yeah, these are some of the things you can check. Like you can even check the logs in your task manager. Keep a keen eye on the system softwares, especially command from Notepad Explorer.exe. The file which is not being executed by you, still it's showing somewhere running inside the system. Because nowadays, these security guys, these hackers are very much smart. Rather than affecting your system, they sit in your system silently and they monitor each and everything. They are waiting for your data, whatever you are typing, and so and so on. Now, how to safeguard ourselves? First thing first, as I have always suggested, always use updated operating system. It doesn't matter your laptop is having lowest configuration. Always update your operating system. Okay. Always update your operating system. Rather than this, use a great defender. If your laptop is having defender, enable it. Your firewall and your defender is more than enough to safeguard yourself. I'm not using any antivirus, but it's working absolutely fine because I don't click on random links, right? So avoid clicking on random links. Avoid downloading stuffs from random websites. Like for instance, if you have to download VLC Media Player, so download VLC Media Player from the official website rather than going for any third-party website, just because that website is having more rating, right? So these are some of the things. Even I will suggest you to invest if you are buying cell phone. So either use the basic one with no connectivity, or else buy Android One cell phone, because they are having regular updates as well. If you can't go for the premium devices, so you can like update is important, right? Everyone is going to talk with the cell phone and hardly use camera. So update is important. So I will suggest you to go for Android One devices rather than going for normal Android update, because after a couple of like this year you will be getting update, next year you will be getting update. So getting Android update is different. Getting security update is different. On Android One device for next 3 years you will be getting regular security updates. So this is how the things are. And I'm going to talk about there is a honorary mention. The name of that virus is Stuxnet. I don't know whether you guys have heard about this or not. A virus uh, which was having its own brain, right? So there is a documentary on Stuxnet, and it's awesome. Do watch it. And here is a concept called 0 days. This is a pretty common concept in 0 days, and it's very much popular on dark web as well. If you are able to find 0 days in a website or in a product, there are buyers who are willing to pay millions for that. For example, if I will find a bug in Apple, and that is 0 day bug. If I will report them, they will give me 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, or 70,000. Yeah, that is what I am explaining. 70,000 rupees as a bounty. But if Apple is giving me 70,000 as bounty, dark web, there are people who can give you more than that, 3, 4, 5 million, something like that, because it depends on the bug which you have find. So what exactly is this 0 day? 0 day means a bug which is even unknown to the manufacturer. Like if you have seen the Harry Potter movies, so you know there are a lot of secret doors, right? There are doors which were even unknown to the Professor Dumbledore as well. So just like that, this 0 day, for instance, I'm using my cell phone, and this cell phone is again a Chinese product, OnePlus. So what if I found a bug in OnePlus, and that bug is unknown to the OnePlus people as well? It means I will be having full access of my cell phone because there is no patch available. There is no security available for that bug. So that bug will be called 0 days. So this story, this which I have told you, this documentary is about a virus called Stuxnet, and it was programmed to target, what you can say, Israel nuclear power plant. And it's pretty much great. Like this website was, for instance, like in Israel nuclear power plant, they were using a hardware, and in this Stuxnet virus there was 20 0 days of that virus. 20 0 days. So do watch it, and you will get to know how industry espionage can walk upon. So I think this documentary is available on YouTube as well. I'm not sure whether it's available or not.
It is YouTube, sir.
But yeah, so it's pretty
It is
much.
in YouTube.
So do watch it. It's actually documentary. There will be people who are talking about. Yeah, here it is.
I already pasted, sir.
And here it is. So like you can watch it. And if you want to get the brief idea about this, so there is a 2 or 3 minute video. This one you can 3 minute video. It will give you a gist of what exactly was Stuxnet, a virus that almost started World War III. So why there is always virus behind World War III? There is even coronavirus behind World War III, right? So any question regarding this malwares?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Sir, there recently there was a case, right? Xiaomi was sending their users data to Alibaba server, right,
Mhm.
in China.
Mhm.
Like, can you tell about it, sir?
See, as I have told you, it's all the game of rootkit, right? So even even this OnePlus cell phone was having a one. Those who are using OnePlus 6, there was a rootkit inside this OnePlus 6. By update, they were able to remove it. Actually, they are saying like something like that. So what this was doing, and what Xiaomi or what Lenovo was doing, they were recording they were recording the behavior of a user, and they were uploading database back to the China. Alibaba, as you know, it's like AWS of China. So they were uploading their data over there, and from there, a targeted campaign, targeted advertisement was being shown to Indian user. For instance, if I'm searching for a laptop, i7 laptop, so they will show you, they are showing me laptops from Chinese origin at cheaper price. They know, okay, there was a laptop of 60,000 rupees I didn't buy. So what they were doing, they were showing cheaper laptop than that. So that is how the stuffs are. That is the reason why nowadays everyone is saying Atmanirbhar Bharat. And even no, it's actually good. A lot of company have shifted themselves, like their base from China. I'm talking about data center. I'm not talking about the manufacturing hub. Even there was a lot of data center which was available in China, and Indian data was being recorded over there. So they are saying like we are shifting ourselves. Even in Mumbai, there was actually I forgot the name. A company invested for data center. So it is being said that within half decade, India will be second in case of data centers as well, like because we are already 130 crores, and we are actually white collar people. Until unless someone is not provoking us, Indians are pretty much white collar. Like we do our work, so it is something like that. Any other question?
Sir, can we create any virus or like around using Kali Linux?
Yeah, you can, but again, that won't be very much impactful. Until unless you are pretty much great with C sharp, there is a programming language, right? C sharp. So with the help of that, this was the programming language. With the help of that, one can create their virus. And in Kali, there is a lot of tools actually. So one of that tool is Metaxploit. With the help of Metaxploit 2, you can create your own virus. But again, that's not reliable because a lot of security researcher already knows how to use this tool and how to create a virus and which sort of digital signature that virus can create. Any other question? If not, we will move forward to our next
Yeah,
topic.
Manish, I have one question, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Manish, regarding the user role in the machines, in the operating systems, for Windows, we have standard user and administrator, right? Similarly, in Mac, we have standard and root user. So is it better to have a standard user for regular use, and for any installing a particular software, we can use a root user to we can switch to a root user and install that particular software. Is that a best practice, or if we run with standard user also, you will be get hacked with this kind of malwares?
If you're running with a standard user and again you are misconfigured, then you can be hacked. But the beauty of like there is good side as well, and the positive side is that even if you are a standard user and someone is able to get access of your system, they might not be able to get 100% control, right? They will be getting limited access as well. But see, there is actually there is something called privilege escalation. That privilege escalation means you like in our pen testing class, even we are going to do that. So what we will do first, we will try to get access of a limited user, and then with the help of that limited user account, we will try to get root access of the account of Linux or Windows account. So this part is there, like this part is in practice, but that is the toughest part actually. So as you are saying, like, is it good? Yeah, it is good, obviously. Good on the good in the way that even if you are hacked, the guy won't be able to get complete access. But again, there is nothing called 100% security, right? So, but yeah, it will take some time, depending on the misconfiguration or depending on the loophole they can create in your system, so that they can get privilege escalation on your system. So that is the reason why even Ubuntu or even your Mac, even see this Mac people give limited user. By default, they give limited user.
Yeah.
So any more question? Sir, take a million data stream and sell in database reaches. Yeah, usually they leak data and sell it on internet. I told you yesterday, Paytm data was, even I saw that Paytm data was being, I don't know the URL on which they were selling, but somewhere I have shown see that they were selling it, and I got to know like from our connection that they were selling that 100 million data at just $4,000 of Bitcoin. So yeah, it's common to download, to leak the data and sell it on dark web. There are a lot of people sitting over there to buy data, especially the credit card ones. Okay, so let's move to our next, which is Metaxploit. But yeah, so for Metaxploit, I'm going to launch my Kali and our target, which is Metaxploit table 2. Remember, don't get confused in between Metaxploit and Metaxploit table. Metaxploit is a tool which we are going to use right now, and Metaxploit table is vulnerable operating system, which is being created by the company which has created Metaxploit. So a lot of people get confused in between that.
Can you show the configuration of this VM, please? How you have set up the VM?
Pardon?
On the VMware
Yeah.
VirtualBox, can you show the configuration, please?
This one. It's
Yeah,
having,
sure.
I think it's having, 256 MB or RAM or 512 MB RAM. So here is, okay, 1 GB RAM and the storage is default one. Right now I'm running on NAT network, but again, it's not suggested to run on NAT. Like there are a lot of networks available. The best one is host only network, host only or internal network.
Okay. Thank you.
So, here is my Kali. Okay, so let's scan the network. Let's try to find the IP address. So it's ARP scan, TAC-L. This is my target. I'm going to use Nmap SV. SV stands for version detail, and I want to know information about my target. And let me launch one more thing. Let me launch uh, Windows 7 as well. Let me close this thing, MetaExploitable. Because hacking MetaExploitable is pretty simple. I will show you even my Windows 7. It's outdated still. It's having firewall on, and I have downloaded a vulnerable software. Password is password itself. Firewall.
Hello, Manish sir.
Yeah, hello.
Can we still download Windows 7? Is it available
So
officially?
on internet, not officially, I think, but you can give it a shot whether it's available on like that Microsoft website or not. I don't think there it's available over there because it's I'm having this Windows 7 and I'm using it for a long while. Usually for buffer overflow attack and other stuff, I use this machine. I use lab, and even for Windows hacking, Active Directory attack, I use this lab. So that's why I'm using it. So it might be available on the internet somewhere.
Like
So
in the
my
third party app, right? Third party
yeah,
application.
third party products because what is the website name? TechCraft, TechNet of Windows, right? So I think they want to give you Windows 7. Now they are just giving Windows 10. So my firewall is up, as you can see, and this is the vulnerable software. This bad blue, it's hackable, it's vulnerable. So I'm going to play with this software, and even I will suggest you guys, I will give you guys a homework. This MetaExploitable, it's having there is more than 10 ways to hack that, right? And you have to do the same whatever I'm going to perform for this Windows 7. So this is hackable actually. My firewall is updated. So let me scan the target first. So I'm getting new IP, nmap tag SV, and that will be 10.0.2.4. I want to check the version, everything about it. Okay, 0% done. You can press enter to check the speed or how much scanning has been done by Nmap. So it's 100% done, as you can see. If you can see, there are a lot of open ports, and all of those open ports are having Windows stuffs running over there, except the one which is port number 80. And you can see there is a software called BadBlue running with version 2.7. So what happened once you scan your target? What's missing was optional update delivery is not working. Okay, I have to use the updates. So what happened once you find the version or any software name? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy it. And this is the best practice. Like even for pen testing, we do same type of stuff. The only thing is that here, just by scanning, you got your result, but there you have to do a lot of work. Let me launch my web browser, and you have to just Google, just type BadBlue. Exploit. And you can see I'm getting a result from 2.72. So if you are having Windows 7 with you, after installing Windows 7, or even you can install Windows 8 or 10, so what you have to do, first how to create this lab, this is the important part. So after installing Windows 7 or 10 or 8 inside your lab, you have to search, like you have to just search BadBlue exploit, and you will be getting result from exploitdb.com. exploitdb. Here you have to open the that page, and you can see there is option of vulnerable apps. You have to just click on this app, and this hackable app will be downloaded in your Windows 7 machine. Remember, it's a zipped file, so you have to unzip it, and then you have to install it inside your lab environment. So as you can see, there is BadBlue 2.72 buffer overflow attack. Again, buffer overflow is a huge concept actually, and it's pretty much interesting for pen tester. Now see, we are going to use a tool. The name of the tool is Metaxploit, and the company which has who have created that tool is called Rapid7. So even we are getting result from Rapid7. It means even with the help of Metaxploit we can hack. And our you have to see even this website, which is cvdetails.com. I usually do what, if I'm scanning my target, and if that target is Windows 10 machine, so I used to find the latest exploit of Windows 10. For instance, I created cvdetails.com. The full form is common vulnerability and exposure. I will explain how this thing works. And here I'm typing Windows 10. And you can see in 2019, there were total 28 updates. They're not showing update about 2020 for now. And total, till the launch of Windows 10, there are total 1,111 updates. So I'm going to click on my buffer overflow one, which is 165. Now see this thing, score. Score means if it's in red, it means 100% hackable. It doesn't matter whether you are using firewall or what. This faded yellow, or you can say oranges yellow, means 50-50 chance. You might hack or you might not hack that system. Yellow is like you can't hack, and there will be green as well. Like more, if the score is more than is lesser than 5 or lesser than 3. So if a score is lesser than 5, it means you can't hack. 90% chances that it's informational. If the score is between 5 to 8, it means more than 50% chances that you can hack that system. And if it's beyond 9, it means 100%. Now, if you can see here, It's written CVE 2019 1359, as the full form of CVE is Common Vulnerability and Exposure, right? And 2019 means this patch has been created in 2019, and 1359 means it is patch number 1359 of that year. This CVE is decentralized. So it doesn't mean like all the patch, like this is 1359. So it doesn't mean that the rest 1358 are all of Windows. Like if there is a OnePlus cell phone, or if there is a Windows computer, Apple computer, they find a bug, they patched it, and they patched it just before this bug. So they will be getting CVE 2019 1358. So it's centralized actually. So from here you can select your CVEs, which hackers usually do. Like what they do, for instance, you get news like in Apache, researchers have found vulnerability, and Apache has patched that vulnerability. So once a company patches vulnerability, not 100% people are able to update that. So what hackers do, if they found a vulnerability in Apache version 4, or Apache, for instance, Apache version 10 or anything. For instance, for here there is BadBlue 2.7. They will start searching the people who are using BadBlue 2.7. So out of 100, even if 50 people have updated themselves, still 50 are vulnerable to this recent attack, right? And then they try to exploit it. So yeah, it is. So our BadBlue is exploitable, right? So let's go back. And here I'm going to launch my tool. The name of the tool is Metaxploit Framework. So you can launch it just by typing MSF console. MSF stands for Metaxploit Framework console. So it's a framework, it's not a tool, it's a framework. Framework means it's having collection of tools. And with the help of this framework, you can hack anything. So it's up and running. You can see there are 2006 exploits. Exploits means vulnerabilities. Vulnerability means weakness of a system. There are 562 payloads. So payload means a software program which can execute on target's computer and revert back complete access of your target. So what is the use of payload? If I'm using exploit to make my exploit very much persistent or very much reliable, we use some extra sort of things, which is payload. Like we use cell phone cover for our cell phone. Just like that, it's a cover for exploit to make it very much reliable and consistent. There is auxiliary, means rather than this exploit and payload, there you can do a lot of other stuffs as well, which is 1096 stuffs. Encoders, they are used to encrypt your payload or exploits. Knobs and posts are being used usually in reverse engineering and other stuffs. 7 invasions. This is used to bypass firewall, but they are not that much reliable. You can change banner as well. Depending on your mood, you can use different sort of banner. So I don't use banners. Here it is. This Metaxploit is written in Ruby framework, Ruby language. So the extension is .rb. Now, even I forgot one thing. Even like right now we search about BadBlue on internet, right? So even you can search this thing inside your Kali Linux. There is a database, centralized database for Linux as well. The name of that database is Search Exploit, and here you can type BadBlue. And you can see I'm getting a lot of result from BadBlue, and this is what we were looking at that time. So even you can see whether your exploit is hackable or not from here itself too. So I'm going to search BadBlue because I got to know like even in Metaxploit there is this BadBlue exploit. So I searched BadBlue, enter, and I am able to get 2 reverts. So and its rank is great. It means they are more than 9. So I'm going to copy it. Now the next command is use, paste, enter, and Now I am in that particular exploit. So these exploits are somewhat like the softwares. When we purchase something, so we get that user manual. So if you want to run this exploit, even you have to check its user manual, how this exploit will work. So for that, I'm going to check the user manual. So the way to check it is just type the command show options. Means what are the least options required to run this exploit. So whatever is written yes in front of required, you have to input that. You have to feed the data. So by default, port number 80, R port stands for remote port, means target port number. And L, you will get L. L port stands for local port from which you are attacking the target. R host stands for remote host, your target's IP address. And L host, you will encounter sometime L host as well. So L host stand for local host, or you can say attacker's IP address, from which IP address you are attacking, so that they can revert you back the complete access. So here R port is yes, and it's already set to 80. This R host is just but pretty much blank. So here I'm going to give set R host, and it's 10.0.2.4. So let me cross check again. So it's pretty much there, everything. There are only 2 yes, and they are all been. Now I'm not going to use any payload because it's outdated exploit. So one can take advantage of that exploit as well. But if you want to see how many payloads are there, for example, if I'm typing MSF console, so I'm running parallel MetaExploits. And if I'm typing show, so you can see, you can check everything, show payloads, show encoders, so show auxiliary, show exploits. So you can check a lot of things over there. You can just type show encoders and it will show you the encoders which are available. The most popular one is Cicata. Where is Cicata? Yeah, this one, Ganai. So here it is. Let's roll back. And now I'm just going to type exploit. Hold on for a second. Let's see whether we are able to get access or not. As you can see, I'm getting Meterpreter session 1 is opened. It means I have got the access of our system. Now what can be done? If I'm typing question mark, and here it is. You can damp data. You can try to accelerate your privilege. You can play one audio, and this is the best one. Right now I'm using this virtual environments. I won't be able to do this thing, webcam chat and other things, but see, they're pretty much great, right? You can record mic, keys can start, dumps, play with their desktop, screenshot. I was playing with it in my during my college days actually. Reboot the system. So let's see what more can be done. If I'm typing IP config actually, right now I'm in the system of that machine, and you can see the IP. If I'm typing get system, so unable to do privilege escalation. If I'm typing sysinfo, it's Windows 7. Let me type key scan. Yeah, key scan start. So this is called keyloggers actually. I'm going back to my target. We have no idea what is going over there. He just started a notepad and he's going to write his secret. This is my secret. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. We want Tony back. So there are a lot of things, right? So he wrote something over there. He write his ID, which is Sparta He write his password, which is QWERTY UIOP. He close this stuff. Okay. Now here he scan dump, and you can see whatever our target was writing, we were able to intercept that. Key scan stop. I can type screenshot. The file name is yqi.jpg. It will be here somewhere. yqi.jpg. You can see right now I opened this thing. And even you can reboot the system from here or shut down the system from here. Seriously? Yeah. See. So this MetaXploit can do a lot of things. It doesn't mean like it's Windows 7. That's the reason why we are able to compromise it. Even with Windows 10, if it's vulnerable, you can play it out. So it's very much handy. Now, whatever the steps I have followed, now you have to do the same step with MetaXploitable too. In your free time, it doesn't matter, you have to do today itself. In your free time, try, there are a lot of loopholes available. For instance, I searched bad loop on internet and I was able to get the exploit. I even searched bad loop inside Metaxploit tool and I was able to get the exploit. Same thing, there are plethoras of options available in the version detail. You can search it out, and with the help of Metaxploit only, you will be able to get the reverse access of your target's operating system. So it's pretty simple, give it a shot. So any question related to someone asked me like how to create that virus as well, right? So I'm just giving you a nudge. There is a tool called MSF Venom. It's a part of Metaxploit. So with the help of this, you can create. You can see. Like for instance, I'm just going to give you a rough example. I'm typing MSF Venom. I want to create a payload, and that payload should be of Android, and the name is Meterpreter. Don't worry, those who are not familiar with Meterpreter, it's a payload. Once you will start practicing, you will get to know what exactly is this. So this is the payload which I want to use. I can even give lhost if I want. For instance, I want to give reverse access of my laptop, and the L port which I want to give is L port I want to give is 1234.
Sir,
And
L port capital letter, sir.
let's see if I will get error, then we will change it. Even this is how I learned my Kali Linux. No one is born genius, right? I used to type my command. If I'm getting error, it means that is wrong. So what more can be done? I want a file. You can select the file type. There are lots of options to get a file type. So I want file type as raw. I think the command is capital R. Or let's skip it. I want to create this software on desktop. I'm pretty sure I will get some error, and I will name it as mb.apk. Press enter. And you can see a file is being created. If I want to check that file, for example, I want to check it on ls desktop. Right, so desktop. So here is file, apk file. If I want to check which type of file is that, there is a command called file, and see it's zip archive file. So with the help of this MSF Venom, you can create your payload. Even you can use that switch, like encoder switch. I think there is MSF Venom TAC-E. There is a switch called TAC-E. Where is that? And that is used for encoding. And that time I show you guys there is Cicata Ganai. You can with -e you can use that command like this. First, let me clear it. I'm just like here you can use something like tag e. It was x86, and I don't know the spelling. If the spelling is right, then a new file will be created. And you can see it's been encrypted. Like this is more secure. There is higher chance that it can bypass one or two antivirus. Now let's see. As I have told you, it's pretty much common. It means a lot of companies knows the output or the digital signature of this file. So let's upload it on. I'm sure all of them will detect, even if we have encrypted it. So first, let's upload this MB1, the first time one. Confirm upload. And it's being analyzed. See the size, it was of just 10 KB. And see, it is able to bypass 3 antivirus. eScan, a lot of people, Symantec, it's one of the most popular one. I think one of you might be using Symantec for sure, Bitdefender. And it's not the encrypted one, right? It was just a normal one. Tencent detected it, Fortnite, good. So these are the losers who are unable to detect it. There is Panda as well, Malwarebytes as well. Just a simple virus, and it is able to bypass more than 50%. And I'm going to do what? I'm going to reopen it, and I will upload the second file. VIStotal.com. As you can see, more than 50% actually. We are able to bypass more than 50% of the antivirus with the help of Metaxploit. We did nothing. We just created a virus and we are able to bypass them. McAfee. Ta-da! Baidu, Chinese. Alibaba. So you see, out of 60, we are able to bypass more than 30. So how secure we are. And here we have used our encryption, and see, we are able to bypass everyone. And I'm pretty much sure a lot of you guys are using Microsoft, right? So again, this was for educational purpose only. You are not allowed to perform this stunt. So you got the idea why we are not secure. We are able to bypass 54 antivirus with just a command, just a simple switch. So any question regarding it? No question?
Manish,
Yeah.
I have a question here.
Yeah, sure.
So, Manish, regarding the CV, you show the list of CV, right?
Yeah.
So, I want to know if a recent CV is being posted. Let's assume CV was released 2 days back. Okay. So, will it be possible for us to exploit that CV using Metasploit?
See, the thing is, no, it won't be updated in Metasploit. Usually, what we do as a pen tester, we follow a lot of news, cybersecurity news. So, whenever there is a patch, that company gave an official statement. So we have patched
Okay.
this vulnerability. From there, we
Okay.
get to know, like, okay, there is a CV.
Yeah.
But it will over the time. It takes time to get updated on internet or anywhere else.
Okay. So, how to update that in our Kali Linux? So, we have to keep on updating that
Yeah. Yeah.
MSF framework.
It's not like that. You can all the updates are being posted by Kali after 15 days.
Okay.
So I will suggest. Usually, I suggest my people or students or anyone to update their Kalis at least once a month.
Okay. Fine. Yeah.
Rest we can even download public exploit, right? We can download exploit from exploit DB, and we can play with that as well. And we will do this. A lot of you people are in pen testing class as well. So even you guys will see we are going to download exploit from internet. We will tweak it out and then we will try to take access of someone's device.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question?
So, just curious to know about the APK you created now, right? So, what will happen if we install that APK in our phone?
It's a just 10 KB APK after installation. If like for example, if your cell phone is not updated, especially the Android part. I'm sure if you're using Android 9 or 10, so 80% is chance that they will detect it. But once, if let's take a situation where I was able to install it in your device, like a spyware. So I will be able to get complete access of your cell phone. I can listen you. I can take photos. I can record videos. I can upload all your files, your location, your WhatsApp chat, everything. Like I will be having virtual control of your device. Even I can kick you out of your cell phone. Like you are using a cell phone, I can lock the cell phone. It's like that.
Oh,
So what is the Dimitri? Okay, it's again OSINT tool and it's pretty much great tool. So, sir, best pen test tool you suggest? Sir, there are lots of tools actually. So you can't select the best one. Metaxploit is one of the best. One of the best. Nmap is one of the best. With the help of Nmap, you can do a lot of things, from scanning to brute forcing to do a lot of things actually. So this Metaxploit and Nmap what we are using is one of the best. I prefer Metaxploit a lot. It will make your life very much easier. For instance, right now we had a bad blue with the help of a Metaxploit command. Metaxploits, the one which we were using right now. If there was no Metaxploit, then what we would have done, we would have downloaded that exploit from internet, which was there on Exploit DB website. And then we could have tweaked it out. We have changed the IP address, port number, and then we would have tried to execute that. Okay.
so by doing Nmap scanning, we could identify the web server name, right? So, if we can identify Nginx or Apache web server or it's a Tomcat server. So, once we know the name alone, so the thing is, if they have protected the server without displaying the exact version number, in that case, I think it's very difficult to get the vulnerability, right? So, or we have to check all the versions. We have to try all the versions like one
Not
by
all,
one, trial.
not all the version. We usually try to check source code as well. Like usually when programmer program websites or something, we try to check is there any source code, or when he was creating a website, he might would have created a page which is having this sort of information, but he would have hidden that page. So we try to
Okay.
brute force all the directories which can be available. If not, then it's tough. But again, we try. There is trial and error method which we do.
Okay.
What is the LOIC, and what is the difference between it and Metaxploit? LOIC is tool for DOS and DDoS attack, which we are going to talk about right now. And Metaxploit is different thing. Metaxploit is a framework. LOIC is a tool. Okay. So it's a pretty simple concept called DOS and DDoS. So let's talk about this. What is DOS and what is DDoS? Actually, when I have created a small, when I was taking workshop for economics times, I have created a small PPT as well. Let me see whether there is any PPT or not. Okay, so I think there is no PPT. Okay, there is no PPT. No, there is no PPT. So I did create a PPT, but again, I think I deleted that. So what is this DOS and DDoS? There was a workshop on 31st of last month, and whatever we are studying, whatever we are going to study in these 5 days, it was 10% of that. It was just 10% of whatever we have studied in last three, like in total 5 days. It was a mix of basic ethical hacking as well as the advanced ethical hacking, which we are going to learn. So, and even if I will combine the both workshop, still it was just 15% of the total workshop. I don't know why they have taken this workshop, and there were a lot of people as well. There were approximately 15 to 20 people who paid 5,000 rupees for that workshop. I was like, okay, these are rich people who are like, content was nothing. Like even the content was pretty much advanced, and it was of just 4 hour workshop. So even in 4 hour, I can't explain everything, right? I was just playing, I was doing, and at the end of the day, what happened? All those people were on our Cosmic Skills platform, and they were like, okay, we want to purchase your course. Then I was like, okay, thank you, Economics Times. This is how it works. So what is this DOS and DDoS attacks? It's one of the most dangerous attack on the planet, and this attack can be performed by anyone. You can perform this attack intentionally as well as unintentionally. And how this thing works actually. For example, let me talk about, because I have completed my schooling from CBSE board. So in CBSE board, what happened if you are having your result announcement? So if result announcement is at 10, so during my time, if a result announcement is at 10, so for the first 5 or 10 minutes, everything was working fine. But after 10 minutes, what was happening? No one was able to check their result. Everyone was saying like server is busy, server is down, something like that. So that is a type. Actually, they were unable to say like a DOS attack has been happened or what. So how these things works? For example, if there is a website, cosmicskills.com, and it was working fine. One fine day, when you ping this website, you were getting one error, and the error was error 404, website unavailable. It means the website is available of internet, but it's not giving you the access. It's not giving the result in front of you. So there might be two reasons. First, someone is doing some work, or else it's down. So how that website went down? That is the logic of DOS. So let's take the example, cosmicskills.com. Let's hope that these people are poor, and they have they have purchased a hosting, and hosting is super cheap. For example, on their hosting, only 100 users can visit at a time. So for the first 100 user, everything will work normal. Like all the 100 users will be able to get this website, see this website, use this website. But when the 101 user will visit the website, that first user, after 100, the first user, which is the 101 user, will get error like error 404, website unavailable. and the rest other 100 user will get, we can see there is waiting sign available. So their internet will become slow, or their system will hang, or that web browser will hang. They have to close that, tab, something like this. So this is DOS attack. The full form is denial of service attack. And, spelling गलती कर दिया, DNI. So this is denial of service attack. So what hackers were doing actually earlier, they used to, this is also a type of DOS attack. If I don't need this machine. If I type terminal, and if I type ping cosmicskills.com, enter, and you can see a packet is being sent continuously, right? So even it's a type of hackers were doing the same thing, a decade back. They were doing ping attack. They were sending pings, thousand, lakhs, million, crores of ping on a particular system. And what that ping was doing, it was exhausting the, the server. And at a time will come when server will stop responding due to these sorts of packets. So it's a type of ping attack. It was very much popular on Windows, and it was called ping of death. But now in the world of firewall, in the world of WAF, which is called web application firewall, these firewalls have become pretty much intelligent. So if plethora of packets are being sent from a same public IP, that firewall will block that particular public IP or blacklist it. So to overcome this sort of problem, hackers did what? They started distributed denial of service attack. Distributed or denial of service attack. So how this distributed attack works, for instance, I have taught people from all across the globe. So what I will do, if I want to send packets on cosmicskills.com, and I have to send 101 packet. So I will call 5 people from 5 different country or places with different latitude, longitude. I will tell them like, you have to do what at this time, you have to send this much packet on this website. So what they are doing, they are sending packet from different place. The firewall will think like they are genuine users, because these packets are being, the origin of the packet is from different places, right? So this is the example of distributed denial of service attack. If 5 people are sending 25 packet at a time, so total packet at the server end will be 125. And as you can see, the maximum limit was 100. So it's going to exhaust the resources of server, and again there will be a DDoS attack. So this is the only attack which is pretty much illegal. Even if when we pen test our clients, when they give us the intent letter, it's already written over there like you are not allowed to perform DOS or DDoS attack. So it's illegal. The group Anonymous, with the first day we saw the image of the masked guys, right? So they are pretty much popular due to this DDoS attack only. They perform DDoS attack, and they are using your or my computer. Actually, they have created like, even in this malware, there is a concept called bots. Even bots, the bots are the Google bots. They were used to download resources from internet. But these bots are like what? They will be inside your system. They are like robots, but being monitored, being controlled by someone else. So they will be inside your system. Someone else will be controlling them, and at a time they will do what? They will send a message to each and every bot, and the back end, their bot will start sending packet from your system. So that is the reason why anonymous people are very much popular, and still these defense people and security people are unable to trace them back, because they are using our computer. So even this DOS and DDoS attack can be unintentional, because once the YouTube was launched, so before the launch of YouTube, there was a website called youtube.com as well. So once YouTube was launched, when it started becoming popular, a lot of people started visiting this website as well. So that was the best example of unintentional DOS attack. So after some time, their resources was exhausted, and then they even claimed the YouTube for this, but nothing happened because genuine people were visiting their website. The main motive of DOS and DDoS attack, usually hacktivists perform this DOS and DDoS attack. Uh, Online gamings are pretty much being attacked by DOS and DDoS as well. Lots of websites, the website which is having a lot of documents or confidential information are being attacked as per the DOS and DDoS attack. Even in DOS and DDoS, there are different types of subdivision. There is some HTTP attack, there is protocol-based attack, there is ping attack, there is TCP attack, because as we know in TCP there is three-way handshake. Once you send a packet, you receive a packet, then you send the data. So even there is TCP attack. They do what? They send a TCP packet. Now server will revert like, okay, I am free, you can send me a packet, but they are not going to send a third packet. And if they are not going to send a third packet, that server will wait for 60 to 70 seconds to receive that packet. Once that server is unable to receive the packet, it will say session timeout. But for that 70 seconds, that particular port or that particular service will be occupied. So there are lots of subdivisions as well inside this DOS and DDoS. There are a lot of tools available: LOIC, HOIC, HPing3. It's in Kali. These tools are. This is a tool of anonymous group. So even if you will use VPN, anonymous are, people says like we are anonymous. Why we are anonymous? Because they are using our device. So even if you will use VPN or anything, now this LOIC tool will bypass and give the actual address in front of target. So HPing3 and so on. So I like this one is reliable for internal network. If you want to check this thing, you can use your internal network. Install a Windows XP machine, and from Windows 7 LOIC try to perform attack on XP IP address, or just download a server on XP and try to perform the attack on that server. You can see like your server won't be responding. Okay, so any question regarding this? Actually, this is not there is not so much technical things involved here. Script kiddies and hacktivist people do this, and it's pretty much what you can say illegal. That's the reason why even we don't delve deeper inside that how packet, even there in HPing3 you can fabricate packet. That is called zombie attack. Even in Nmap there is zombie attack option available. Means I will be attacking Facebook, but I will be using one of you guys IP address. So on Facebook server your IP address will be flashing, something like that. Okay, any question? How to safeguard ourselves? Use web application firewall. Use CDN like Cloudflare or any firewall, something like that. They do what? They create. See, I showed you guys yesterday or the day before that. This one. Even I'm using dedicated server. Still, this is not my IP. Actually, this is the IP address of the firewall which I'm using. So what happened, even if someone is sending plethora, thousands, lakhs, crore packet on this website, on this IP. So this is not my IP. All the IPs, all the packets are being filtered and then they are being forwarded to my platform. So anyhow, my platform is secure. It's like nowadays, celebrities are having their manager. So initially, when they were not celebrity, people were calling them. But once they become celebrity, they keep a guy who is called manager. So now you are doing what? If you want to contact them, you have to call the manager. And then if manager thinks like, yeah, you can, like, your call is genuine or you can help them out, then only he will connect you to the actual celebrity. Same thing is here. This website is celebrity and the firewall is the manager of that website. So it doesn't matter how much packets you are sending, it's being shared somewhere. In June or July only, Facebook, YouTube, everything was down for a couple of hours. And that was why? Because all of them were using a same service, like this DDoS service protection, which was Cloudflare, and hackers were able to performed such a huge attack that even Cloudflare server was down. So if Cloudflare is down, it means if this is down, it means it can't connect my website with the user. So if this is down, it means obviously my website is down. No one will be able to reach at that end point. So this dangerous is DOS and DDoS attack. So any question?
Sir, I have a question.
Okay.
You told that a firewall has one IP, right?
Mhm.
So can we pass through that firewall IP, sir?
There are a
Is
lot
it
of
possible?
there are lots of scripts available. Again, the cybersecurity world is upgrading itself each and every day. So each day you will be getting a script to bypass the firewall, and next day that will be patched. So it's completely depend on your luck how you are able to bypass that.
Sir, if at all I pass that firewall,
Yeah.
will you get the intimation that I have passed firewall?
Uh, Not intimation actually, but yeah, in logs I can get to know like this referral is not from my firm. Like in logs, yeah, tomorrow we are going to perform some attack on web applications. I will show you there are a lot of raw logs. There are a lot of metadata. In metadata, everything is written. Your IP, your web browser, your operating system, your referral. So by default, when you are visiting my website, so on my Cosmic Skills, in my log, I will get a referral like, okay, this referral is from my firewall. But if I'm not getting firewall, it means something is fishy. And even that firewall people might record it out the how if we have given them access of our backend as well. For instance, right now there are a lot of company which provide total solution from web server hosting to firewall. So they record everything, so they will get to know. But if I am having my own hosting, like I'm using Google Cloud and I'm using someone else firewall, so only the admin who is taking care of the website can get to know like someone is visiting their website from different referral. Okay, next question. So आज कोई question नहीं है? क्या बात है? So you guys are able to understand everything, right? Because when you guys don't ask me question, sir, who is head of ISP? Depends. Like I think Mittal is head for of Airtel. Tata का CEO कौन है? Is head for Tata, something like that. Any question?
Manish, I have a question. So we found some vulnerability, and so is there any best practice guide or document you guys provide to the customers who ask you for penetration testing? Because we find some a list of vulnerabilities and some problems in their application. So we have to suggest them the solutions also, right?
Yeah, we do suggest them solution, and after patching, like for example,
Yeah.
if I pen tested your computer network or website, I found something. I will give you suggestion as well. I will show you like how you can create that stuff, like how you can
Yeah.
create that vulnerability, then solution, and when you completed that solution, so again we will cross check that. We will again
Okay.
pen test it and let you know whether it's been patched or not.
Okay. So if we find any vulnerability in a particular web application, so what we have to do is we have to Google that vulnerability and we have to find the solution and we have to give it to the customer, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only way.
Red remediation is on the way, but the thing is over the time, like we are doing this from past half decade, so we get to
Okay.
know like which particular source is best for remediation. For
Yeah.
example, if I found the vulnerability X type of vulnerability and Y type of vulnerability, so for X there will be different website, and for Y there will be different website. So we try to give our best to the clients, so that even in if my client is able to patch that in one shot, na, so believe me, after 6 months, he's going to come back to me like, no, I'm going to pen test my stuff from Manish only. I have a lot of clients like this who never approach
Okay.
my firm. Actually, they are CEOs, they are investors. They usually call me directly like, okay, Manish, we have to pen test our website. So even if I tell them like right now we are occupied, it's like, okay, I can wait. So that is the great thing actually. This remediation play a lead role in taking care of your clients.
It's good. Yeah.
Recommended firewall protection, it's completely depend on user. Like whatever you like, you can select. All the firewalls are good, all the firewalls are best. You can see we were able to bypass all the antiviruses. The company which make antivirus, they even create firewalls. So there are a lot of firewalls: Cloudflare, Superi, Fortnite. There are a lot of them. It's completely
Sir?
depend on your bugs. Yeah.
Sir, can you tell about bug bounty, sir? I mean, how to apply for an exam, for bug bounty exam?
Bug
Microsoft.
bounty. Bug bounty.
Yes, sir.
So tomorrow
Yes, sir.
we are going to talk about web application, websites. So tomorrow I will explain everything, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So today I have secured the best topic for tomorrow. Okay. Any more questions? So I think there is no question now, right? So make sure, like those who have installed their Metaexploitable and Kali, please try to get access. It's pretty simple. It will hardly take you 20 or 30 minutes. Even during your coffee in the morning, you can try to perform this stunt, and you can check whether you are able to bypass it or not. But the tomorrow's topic, which is bug bound, like web application pen testing, that is pretty much interesting. Even if you are a working individual, even if you are working anywhere, like there was someone who was CA, and there was someone who is not from technical background as well. Even you can check any website, your website or any website, whether it's hackable or not. There are lots of things. There are lots of tools available actually. Types of firewall, which firewall is best? Tomorrow we are going to talk about types of firewall as well, and which firewall is best. Again, even in subtypes it depends. Like it depend, you are talking about software firewall or you are talking about hardware firewall. Out of software and hardware is always best, because you don't have to rely on anyone. But they are they are very expensive, and even there are some limitation. You won't be getting that much, what you can say, like whatever you are getting in software functionality, you won't be getting that much in hardware firewall. Is it possible to create a firewall, and how? Sir, yeah, you can create a firewall if you are able to download terabytes of data, and then you are able to script in such a way that whenever your client is having any file, you can scan that file with such a speed that it just takes fraction of second to revert back whether that particular uh, source is available in your database or not. Even so it's something like that.
Sir, but creating a firewall, it is I mean, the hackers cannot easily can get into the any website or anything, no, sir.
Yeah.
Building a firewall. Sir,
Firewall,
if
you are giving you are having 10 doors. So firewall means you are giving security, like you are keeping a security guard in front of each and every door.
means we have to create a strong firewall, sir.
Yeah, so that is the reason why, like people, rather than creating a strong firewall, people opt for firewall as a service, because they are in this field from past decades. They have thousands of people who are actively doing R&D, because R&D is very much important. If you are creating firewall, if you are having 100 member, make sure you are having extra 100 member for R&D, because you can't rely on other firewalls. No, you have to make sure if there is a 0 day, or if there is a digital signature new one, still you are able to recognize that digital signature and suggest them. For instance, nowadays what happens if there is a new type of file, your firewall will intimate you saying like, we have no idea which type of file is that. Until unless you are not sure about the sender, please don't click it. Sir, what is ARP poisoning? The full form is Address Resolution Protocol. When you are in a network, as I told in networking class, when you are in a network, each device interact with each other. So there is an attack called man in the middle attack. Man in the middle means I am the attacker, my left hand is router and my right hand is target. So initially what was happening, my target was trying to communicate to internet. So when my target was sending packet, it was first being sent to router, and then router was forwarding the packet to internet. Now what will happen with the help of ARP poisoning? I will do what? I will be sitting in between them. I will tell this router like I'm the user. I will tell this user like I'm the router. I did what I poisoned the address resolution protocol where they were sharing the IP address and MAC address. Now what will happen if this will send the data first? It will come to me, then I will forward it to firewall, and vice versa. So that is ARP poisoning, usually used in a man in the middle attack.
Sir, after these classes, we have any exam, sir? I mean, online exam, like.
No, there's no. You want any online exam?
I
can.
mean,
Yeah, there are questions available. If you want, I can share questions with you. Like you can go online and give exam, but there won't be any exam. Like actually, for live train, like the recorded session, we have given exam option so that that the guy who have purchased my course will get to know whether he have understood anything or not. But right now, I am with you. I'm trying to explain. I'm going to give my level best. And still, even in future, if you are facing any sort of error, you can ping anytime in that group or even personally ping me.
sir, what am I asking is actually I have known my Wi-Fi password, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, using the Wi-Fi password, how to hack in? I mean, I connected to my mobile phone and my smart TV using the same Wi-Fi.
Okay.
How to operate my mobile phone and my smart TV? I mean, how to hack into using the same Wi-Fi, sir?
So it's the thing is, see, actually, I didn't understand the question, but what I understood, like, if for example, I'm outside your network
Yes, sir.
and I want to see whether your smart TV is hackable or not. So first, I will attack on your Wi-Fi because I have no idea about a smart TV IPs on internet, right? So I will attack your Wi-Fi. I will try to get the password. Once password will be in my hand, I will connect myself to your Wi-Fi, and then I will scan your devices, and then I will do whatever we have done right now. As yes, sir, I want online exam. Okay, I will give you a link. There are a lot of websites on internet which took online exams. MAC flooding means MAC flooding is like just a normal flood. In a network, there are 4 or 5 devices, and those devices are doing ARP. They are exchanging their data. What a hacker can do, it will start flooding. It will start sending random MAC address to router. So my router is a device, and it depends which sort of device is it. Like I have purchased it at a lower rate or higher rate. For example, if you are using Cisco, so Cisco is having device from 5,000 rupees to crores as well. So if I have the cheaper router, so it will crash suddenly, or else it MAC table will be full. There is a limit to MAC table storage. Once the MAC table storage is full, it means, for example, if there are 5 devices and the storage value is 10, I send 100 of MAC address. So what if my MAC address is being stored in the router? It means it's not going to store the actual 5 MAC address which is available in the network, and in response, they won't be getting internet connectivity. So,
Sir, actually, what am I saying is, yesterday I saw the Mr. Robot, sir.
okay.
In that, they hacked the Wi-Fi of a company and they hacked even the smart TV also.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's real. The whatever they're showing in Mr. Robot that has happened in outside also.
Mm-hmm.
Means the hacking course. Actually, they did not show me any hacking course how to hack the smart TV or how to hack the Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how they hacked the Wi-Fi. But they hacked the smart TV and they just send some message. I mean, a video recording video.
App Society's video.
Yes, that's a video. But how it is possible to hack into Wi-Fi and all the devices, sir? Remote all the devices.
That network, if you're talking about that Mr. Robot, I'm not going to talk about that thing. I'm going to give you example. If there is a network, right? And if a guy is able to hack the Wi-Fi and reach to the admin account of that network. So if in company there is thick client, Like one can even push update in all the computers. So if I'm
Yes,
able to get the admin privilege, admin account of the network, it means I can push any sort of vulnerability in each and every thick client connected devices. And once I'm able to push that, it means all of them are hackable.
okay, sir. Sir, can you tell me, at least tomorrow class, can you tell us how to hack into Wi-Fi, sir? Even your own Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Tomorrow there will be Wi-Fi hacking. Actually, I was planning to teach you guys today only, but I don't have Wi-Fi adapter. So I will try to manage a Wi-Fi adapter so that I can show you live, or else I have to just tell you. I can just tell you the commands and what will happen or something like that. So
Sir, I tried to,
tomorrow,
I try to hack into Wi-Fi using but my TP-Link modem is not supporting, sir, the Wi-Fi hacking.
there is Alpha card, which is city loads city expensive, and there was, I think, just do what there is Panda or something like that. There is a company which will cost you hardly 1,000 rupees. Just check the explanation whether it's supportive on Linux or not, whether it's having packet injection or not. In description you will get to know about that. Sir, can we root Android phone? Is it possible to hack? Yes. If you are rooting your phone, it means you are giving it cancer. And it's pretty simple. There is King's Root. Just download it, double click it, and tada, your cell phone is rooted.
Sir, actually, yesterday I saw in YouTube how to hack the mobile phone
Mm-hmm.
using MSF Venom.
Okay.
But I got only the call details and only dial calls and only the messages, sir. I cannot access to my WhatsApp, to my Facebook, and anything. I cannot access to
But
anything.
MSF Venom, it's of you have saw no, that's of hardly 9 KB. But the
Yes,
thing
sir.
is, the spyware, they actually code data route. Like that spyware will be of hardly 1 MB. But 10 KB and 1 MB, there is huge difference. 1 MB means thousands line of code, right?
Sir, you have shown the website, no, sir, the spyware. For the website.
Yeah, M is spy. Yeah.
Um, that we have to install that apps. In our phone also.
Yeah. Until unless you're not installing, you won't be able to get the access. Again, that was for educational purpose only. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, any more question?
Sir, but we cannot hack into unrooted Wi-Fi, unrooted Android phone, sir.
It's not like that. If I'm able to download that spyware, then I'm already giving the access. See, by default in cell phone, there is some security from manufacturer end as well. Like in our body, there is immune system, right?
Sir.
But when we are playing with our immune system, there are a lot of disease which can crash your immune system. So when your immune system is crashed, any disease can attack you. The same thing happened with rooting. If you rooted your cell phone, it means you have denied the permission or access of the inbuilt security. So once there is no security, it means anyone can attack you out. So
Sir,
there are pros and cons of rooting your cell phone.
Sir, can you tell in any devices how to install Kali Linux rather than laptop?
There is NetHunter. There is an individual version for cell phone, NetHunter. You can use that.
And we can use the Nexus 10 also, sir.
Sorry?
Nexus 10. It's an Android phone actually. It's only used for Kali Linux.
You can use that. Like initially that NetHunter was for OnePlus mobile, but nowadays anyone can install that. Even there is Termux, I think. I don't know the name.
Termux.
Yeah, so you can use that too. I have got to know about it's pretty good as well. But I have just used NetHunter during my college days.
Sir, can we install Kali Linux in Raspberry Pi, sir?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, Raspberry Pi is just CPU. So in CPU you can install anything. That is the only reason why Raspberry Pi was so much popular in hacking community was that hackers were able to install or that Kali Linux inside that. You just need a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, and it is a working computer actually.
So my doubt is, can it handle that Kali Linux? That's what.
Yeah, it can handle, but not you won't be getting that much privilege of just like laptop. There might be limitation. You might be getting some crashing error as well. But again, whatever you are getting on laptop, you won't be getting that privilege on Raspberry Pi. But you see each and every year after these couple of months, they are giving best configuration. Now even they are giving configuration in GBs. So that one will help actually. Like the best configuration Raspberry Pi can handle it up. I have tried that, but I tried that Raspberry Pi a couple of years back actually in 2018, and it was working fine for me. But again, I don't give heavy load to that.
Sir, small doubt actually.
Mhm.
So actually, sir, if we connected the same Wi-Fi to different devices, it will show different IP address to the phones and to the in laptop different IP address, in mobile phone different IP address, sir.
No, it's not like that. If there is same network, then you will be getting same range of private IP actually.
Sir, how to check my IP address in mobile phone, sir? I mean,
Yeah, it's in a Wi-Fi option. You can get something like that. There is in Wi-Fi there is an option. I don't remember the option actually. Let me see. There is option of Wi-Fi in your cell phone Wi-Fi setting actually. Because for Android application pen testing, we use, I don't know where is that. Actually, my cell phone is in Hindi, so even I have to search it out. I have to just check it out there. If you are unable to find it, let me know. So I will change my cell phone.
Below MAC address, there is IP address, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So
Sir,
that,
it is there.
sir, who control port number? The device owner. Sir, how to block all the scanning in a system? You can disable ICMP scan, and you can install a pretty good firewall. Sir, about phone enrichment setting. Yeah. Okay, sir. Bye. So, any more question? Okay, so I think we are done for today. So do practice, and if you are facing any sort of error, do ping me in the group. I will try to revert. Okay then.
sir, actually in Kali Linux, it is showing different IP address. That is
Kali,
different, sir.
Kali is in different network if you are using VirtualBox.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you. Sir, we can hack into Windows. Yeah, you use it virtual Windows 7, sir, to hack into Windows 7 today class.
Yeah.
We
Those
can
both
hack,
of them are in the same network.
yes, sir. Actually, we can hack into Windows 10, sir. Real, I mean, not virtual. It's real Windows 10.
You can give it a shot, but I think once when firewall will be on, it will block it out. Give it a shot. Let's see.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay then, guys. If you have any question, you can ask. Else, I have to end this class, and we will meet again tomorrow. Okay. Okay then. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Stay safe.